Welcome back, and thank you for joining us. If you just logged in, we are in our second session where Strauss, the Senior Solutions Architect at SafriCloud, is going to present along with Shaun Cothill, and they will look at some solutions of AI in impacting a customer experience. So they will talk about AI-driven CX within the fintech industry. Shaun and Charl, welcome. We look forward to your presentation.
Thank you, Zanzile.
Fantastic. Thank you, Zanzela, and welcome to everybody. Good afternoon and good morning, wherever you are in the world. Let me just introduce SafriCloud. We're a leading cloud communication company supporting companies within Southeast Africa. We assist companies with their digital journey using Genesis Cloud, which is an experience as a software platform. There are two experiences that you can expect to gain from us. The first experience is the personalization and professionalism that you will receive from our team. And the second experience is the use of the AI-powered solution delivered to deliver a better customer and agent experience. So Zenzele, if you can please push play.
Awesome. Thank you, Shaun. So we're going to play a very short pre-recorded presentation from SafriCloud, and then I think we're going to be a short Q&A of some sort between the two gentlemen. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Before we get into the AI in CX demonstration, I would like to run through some of the findings of our recent survey and report. The report is entitled The State of AI in the South African Businesses 2021. In the report, we sought to assess the sentiment and adoption outlook for AI and machine learning technologies. We also wanted to understand South Africa's position internationally. How do we differ from our European and North American counterparts? You can download a free version of the report at SafriCloud.com. The report outlines key findings in resourcing and skills, adoption, and the current benefits experienced by those who have taken the early steps. Let's clarify about what we mean by AI in this context. In simplified terms, AI is a system that gets better through learning. Firstly, it requires data. Then it requires data scientists and developers to turn that data into actionable outputs and insights. In the CX space, this means understanding and reacting to patterns of customer interactions and intents. However, 54% of respondents cited low internal skills as the most important challenge to AI adoption, yet nearly 60% of our respondents rating the need to implement AI and machine learning in the next 2 years as important to very important, and only 35% of businesses saying that currently have internal resources focused on AI and machine learning. I would suggest that the skills gap will continue to grow. Of all the different segments of the markets, the banking and financial sector have placed second in the category where artificial intelligence and machine learning could improve business outcomes the most. The AI machine learning benefits are viewed as the most important are better customer experience, increased employee efficiency, and reduction in human error, all global trends in corporate competitive advantages. The ultimate goal for every forward-thinking business is to deliver a better customer experience. How do we achieve this with technology? Imagine if one of your customers called into a company and they were greeted by name, or if they WhatsApped your company and they were responded to within seconds, or your website recognized the first signs of frustration and intervened with a live agent. By leveraging and integrating technology, we are able to exceed customer expectation. What if I told you that we could bypass the issues of AI skill shortage and get the power of AI right out of the box? We believe we can deliver that for you. I would like to hand you over to Strauss, Senior Solutions Architect at SafriCloud, who will demonstrate how Genesis built-in AI functionality can take your CX from disjointed to world-class. Over to you, Charl.
Hello everyone, my name is Charl and today we'll be showing you Genesis Cloud and how it can assist in the financial sector using artificial intelligence and predictive engagement to create long-lasting positive customer experiences. I will be demonstrating the abilities of a self-help bot as well as the function to hand over to an agent when required. I will also demonstrate how a potential customer can be engaged with at the correct time to turn that customer or potential customer into a real customer Genesis Cloud gives you a full 360 view of all your customer interactions in a single cloud platform interface. All you need is a laptop, a PC, a headset, and a decent internet connection. For the purpose of my demonstration, I am going to log in using single sign-on using Microsoft ADFS, but you also have the ability to log on to Genesis Cloud with a normal username and password. Once the agent is logged into Genesis Cloud, the first thing that they would need to do is to go on queue. On queue tells Genesis Cloud that the system is ready to send interactions to the agent. Once the agent has gone on queue, you will notice there's a little reminder saying you are not scheduled to work at this time. Keep in mind, Genesis Cloud is a very broad platform which has got quality management, workforce management, as well as all the contact center features that you might need. For the first part of our demonstration, we are going to show you a self-help bot where the client can actually assist themselves using WhatsApp. They've also got the ability to speak to an agent if needed, which we call blended AI in the Genesis world. So artificial intelligence is there to assist the client, but if they get frustrated at any given moment, they should always have the ability to pass over to an agent. The customer starts engaging with the bank's WhatsApp channel. Customer greets the bank. Customer gets a response back from an artificial intelligence bot asking the client how can they assist. The client is interested in their account balance. The bot wants to know whether it will be for the check or the savings account. I want to check it for my check account. The client is a little bit concerned about the amount of money that's left in the bank account and would like to make use of another service to view the last transaction history. The client is happy that there's no fraud on their card and they remembered the last 3 transactions. They, however, want to track the delivery of their credit card. The client is happy that the credit card will be delivered in 2 to 3 business days. However, they would also really like to confirm their address with an agent. At this stage, Genesis Cloud alerts the agent of a possible interaction that is taking place. As the interaction gets passed over to the agent's got a full history of the conversation that took place. The agent can see what the client has been asking the bot and what the bot has been responding to. I can see that it is Mr. Strauss that I'm speaking to because I've got him saved as an external contact with all his information. I've got a full 360 view of any interactions that's taking place with this client, be it via a phone, be it via WhatsApp, email, or social media. The client would like to confirm that they've got the correct address. The agent sees the query of the client and they look it up in a CRM. With Genesis Cloud, you've also got the ability to embed scripts so that you can have your CRM embedded into Genesis Cloud and able to assist your customers very quickly. The agent does the lookup and they can confirm that the address is correct. The client is happy, they thank the agent, and the chat can be wrapped up. The agent can end the chat by clicking End Messages, and they wrap it up. Wrap-up codes can also be reported on a later stage. Genesis Cloud has got a full report suite for all your queues, for all your different interactions, be it for outbound campaigns, inbound messages, social media, predictive engagement. The client is so happy about the self-help service on WhatsApp that he decides to give Treasure Bank a chance to apply for a mortgage loan. In this example, you will see the client navigate the website, go to the mortgage calculator, fill in the form, and then abandon it because they're unsure about the interest rate. Predictive engagement then picks up that the client has abandoned the mortgage calculator form and engages with the client at the correct time by popping up a web chat. An agent is able to immediately assist the client. Agent responds to the client and tells them that the interest rate is based on their credit history. The client is happy with the conversation and says thank you and ends the chat. With predictive engagement, the full conversation history can also be seen. The agent has also got the ability to see the customer details as well as the customer journey. Customer journey shows the agent the pages the client has navigated on, as well as any segments that was matched. We know that the client went to the website, they visited the banking page, and they abandoned their mortgage loan calculation. This is all visible to the agent while they're talking to the client. If the client had to navigate other pages, you would see the list of pages that the client visited. You can actually see the amount of duration that the client has spent on the pages and the journey that they took on your website, all visible to the agent on Genesis Cloud. It's important to understand the power of predictive engagement within Genesis Cloud. It's not only about talking to your clients at the correct time by popping a chat or asking them to give you a call. You can also drive leads into dialer campaigns to phone clients that is hot leads and really interested in your product. As you can see from this interface, you're able to track your clients on multiple websites, engaging them with at the correct time or making them engage with an artificial intelligence bot that has got the ability to hand over to an agent at any given time. Genesis Cloud also allows you to report on absolutely everything. It allows you to do quality management on your interactions, as well as build dashboards and automate reports, etc., to make sure that your agents are treating your customers in the way that you desire. I hope that you guys enjoyed the short demo of Genesis Cloud. Please note that this is only the tip of the iceberg when it comes to functionality within Genesis. There's a whole bunch more. So please do make contact with us if you would like to get any further information. Thank you very much for your time today.
Fantastic. Great. Thanks, Charl. Thank you very much for that insight. Really cool to see some predictive engagement involved there. One question that I'm sure our audience want to understand is, and Zinzele, please go ahead and start the poll. We've prepared some questions for you guys. Please take some time, read through, and just answer those questions if you don't mind. In the interim, I just want to ask Charl a couple of questions, and probably very important to you guys. We're dealing with people's money and their personal information. So how do we ensure compliance and customer authentication, and POPI, GDPR? How do we ensure that we are compliant from that perspective?
Shaun, that is a really great question, and I'm glad. I'm actually glad that you're asking that question. So, apart from the data encryption, the compliance, the GDPR, and hashing out confidential customer information like credit card numbers and things like that, that you absolutely need to do in the contact center environment, I just want to do a quick demonstration on authentication questions, because that's something that actually pops up a lot in the contact center world. So you would know normally when you phone a bank and you want to do something like change your address, they're going to ask you a bunch of security questions to verify that they're talking to the correct customer. So that is very important, because in our demo, the customer was already verified and they started engaging with the self-help bot. But how do we now ensure that we're talking to the correct customer? And what I will also do is I will share the Genesis Cloud security link for audience to read through, so they can have a look at the compliance levels and GDPR and all of that. But let me share my screen and actually present the authentication questions that is possible. So I'm using something called the Genesis Cloud API Explorer. Just tell me if you guys can see my screen. And I'm actually simulating a chat over here. So the bot is greeting the customer saying, how can I help you? But now we need to verify who we're actually talking to. So I'm going to start and I'm going to say to the bot, I want to change my address. So that is my intent. So now the bot needs to verify who I am. So firstly, it can ask me for my ID number. And these questions can obviously be randomized. You don't have to ask each client the same questions. So it's asking me for my house number, it's asking me for my account number, it's asking me for my ID number. And after all of that information has been passed, then I can successfully start communicating with the contact center. This has also got another benefit if you think about the fact that in a lot of contact centers, when you ask the security questions, it takes up the agent's time. And if you get thousands of calls a day where every single agent needs to answer security questions or ask the client for security questions, you can imagine it takes a lot of time from the contact center. So now with AI, you can actually ask those questions up front and then only pass authenticated customers to the contact center to actually save some time. So not only are we compliant when it comes to GDPR and POPI and protecting customer information, but we can also ask the correct security questions up front to ensure that we're talking to the right client. That information that the client needs to verify, that information is only there as long as the interaction takes place, but afterwards it disappears. So it doesn't actually get stored anywhere. So it's fully compliant. It's plainly to authenticate the client and to know that the contact center is talking to the correct person or that the self-help bot is engaging with the correct person. So it's not someone that's trying to act like they're Shaun when they're not Shaun or Charl when they're not Charl.
Okay, fantastic. Now, let's say, for instance, we're in a contact center environment. A customer has phoned in, they have a query, a ticket's been loaded using a ticketing system, i.e. maybe like something like Zendesk. How do we now track those interactions? And specifically, if a person phones in again, how do we know the history of that individual?
Sure, that is another great question. And I'm actually glad that Zendesk is presenting afterwards because Genesis Cloud, because of its open API, it makes it very easy to integrate into a lot of CRMs. And one of the CRMs that it integrates into out of the box with no development needed is Zendesk. So if a customer phones in, and I'm just gonna start playing this quickly. So if a customer phones in and they want to log a ticket, so in my example, I'm going to say that the customer is phoning in because they've settled their car. Okay, and now they want their settlement letter. So you can see the customer is phoning in, and this is just to explain, this is the Genesis Cloud integration running on top of Zendesk. So you can still see all your customer information in here, and you've got all your call controls, etc. And the agents can actually answer it within your ticketing system. So after the call is answered and the client is now advised the agent that they've got a problem, they didn't get their car settlement letter. So the agent logs a ticket on behalf of the client. So they say it's a car settlement query, and the client wants an update on when the settlement letter will be received. So after the agent is done talking to the client, they can submit the ticket as new on the CRM, and they can also wrap up the call on Genesis Cloud. So they might be advising the client at this stage that they've logged a ticket, they will get in touch with the finance department, and they will get back to them. So in the meantime, after the agent has spoken to the client, they can actually make contact with the finance department. They can phone straight from the Genesis Cloud widget, make contact with the finance department, and add an internal note to the ticket. So these internal notes are very, very important because when the client phones back, although you want that ticket to go back to the same agent that's been dealing with the query, if in the event that that agent is not available and that query goes to someone else, you want that agent to also have the full context of that conversation that took place. For a good customer experience, that is extremely important. People hate repeating themselves, so that's absolutely vital. So when the customer phones in again, you can see over there it's alerting, and they actually answer. So now what happened? I know that happened very quickly, but the actual ticket pops up for the agent to see. So if the agent now looks, they're talking to the client has advised them that they actually still haven't received their settlement letter, but now the agent can see that the information was provided to the client and that the settlement letter was actually sent. So now they can help the client. Maybe the settlement letter is stuck in their junk mail, and they can advise the client to have a look in the junk mail because they saw that the finance team has provided the information to the client. So then the client can go, they can check in their junk mail, they see the ticket is there, after settlement letter is there, and the agent can wrap up the call as problem solved. So the client got assisted very quickly. The agent had the correct information in front of them, absolutely vital and for a good customer experience.
Fantastic. Charl, I got one more question for you. And this one is just throwing it on the whim based on our roundtable discussion early on. One of the benefits about Genesis Cloud is the open API REST, correct? Now,
Yes.
what does that mean for a customer? Like, take us through a scenario. If a customer's got multiple products, they're not necessarily stuck with those products. How do they integrate these products together to form one big platform?
Okay, so there's a couple of things to think about. It's firstly the goal that needs to be achieved, because with the open API, if you've got a CRM that's also got an open REST API, you can basically, in simple terms, what it means is you can exchange information between the two platforms. So between Genesis Cloud, your contact center platform, and between your CRM, you can exchange information. So in other words, let's say you are a priority client and we want to identify you as a priority client. So you phone in, we do an API call based on your number, and in the CRM we can go and retrieve information. We can see Shaun as a gold member, and then we can maybe send you to a priority queue so that you get preference. Those are the type of things you can easily do with integrations. In Genesis Cloud, most of you will be familiar in the contact center world that when you receive a phone call and you have a little script, especially in the sales environment, we've got a little script that you can read out to your clients. Now, with the open API, we can actually bring information in from your CRM. So if Shaun phones into the contact center, we can go and have a look at his number. We can verify some security questions with him, like his ID number, etc. And then we can bring that information from your CRM into Genesis Cloud so that it's available to your agents. So we can make routing decisions based on the data that gets exchanged with the API, and we can present information to agents. We can also push information from a Genesis script to your CRM. And when it comes to things like payment gateways, etc., you can easily integrate a payment gateway with the open API. So you can have an IVR where the client can actually phone in, they can speak to a bot, and the bot can guide them through the actual payment process. And those things are all possible with the open REST API, and Genesis makes it extremely easy. So you don't need to be a full-on developer. You only need to understand how that information passes between the platforms.
Fantastic. That's excellent. Thank you so much, Charl. Thank you very much for your time, everybody. Really appreciate you joining us. And Zenzela, it's back over to you.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. That was beautiful. Thank you for that demonstration showing how artificial intelligence can be very useful in improving customer experience. Thank you so much. Both Charl and Shaun will be on the panel discussion at the end, so feel free to ask them any question. I see beautiful comments as well. This is innovative, very innovative, very good info. So yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, gents. We're going to take a short break now, and we're going to have our last presentation before the panel discussion. So please do not go away. We'll be back in a minute. Thank you.
Thank you.